Welcome to the Twist News. I'm Erika Grey. Mark DeVos, professor and strategist, wrote a book called Superpower Europe, the Silent Revolution. He also has a video out about it. And he stated that Europe is having a silent revolution that is greater than at its inception, and the force and the key players that got together to ignite the European Union into existence with the European coal and steel community of 1951, and then in 1957, the Treaty of Rome really solidified the beginnings of the common market and the beginnings of Europe's political union with the 6 nations that formed it. But he talked about the revolution taking place right now in response to Donald Trump's presidency is even greater than at the EU's inception with the founding fathers. Let's add that Ursula von der Leyen just came out and stated that there is a renaissance taking place. That's right, another renaissance, but this is a geopolitical renaissance for the European Union. And that Friedrich Merz just stated at an EPP gathering, that EPP, the European People's Party, the largest political party in the European Union, and he just stated that it is the hour of Europe. And that is a play on a statement, because it was stated at the after the fall of the Berlin Wall by Luxembourg Foreign Minister Jacques Pose, who said it's the hour of Europe and no longer the hour of the Americans. And this was after the Yugoslav crisis. And he was running around like a madman in Europe, running around like a nut. It's the hour of Europe, the hour of Europe. Well, he was a little bit ahead of his time. But Friedrich Merz is actually playing on that famous statement by Jacques Pose, the hour of Europe and no longer the hour of the Americans. Well, why would Europe be so excited at this time? Because they are doing making major decisions that are going to catapult them. One of them is in response to Mario Draghi's report and the Enrico Letta report on deepening the common market and the competitive compass, which takes from Mario Draghi's recommendations. So they're doing both. They're going to complete the common market, go deeper into areas that they have not gone into yet, such as energy, telecommunications, and finance. They're going to have the Capital Markets Union, which is going to combine the 27 nations into one financial market. They're going to have an S&P that's going to mirror the S&P 500, but it'll be for Europe. And the banking union, the investment union. So what they're essentially doing now is taking their nations and joining them together, coordinating the law so that it's more in line with the United States. And they're doing some other key things, such as doing away with a lot of unnecessary regulation, which is why companies come to the United States and don't stay in Europe. Well, they're doing away with a lot of that to keep the companies in Europe. They are launching the AI centers. There's 13 of them, and 5 major gigabyte centers, and there's going to be a CERN of AI because the European Union is determined to be a leader in AI and is trying to get the talent there also through their Horizon programs, which fund technological developments and technological companies and and all kinds of initiatives. So they're pouring a lot of euros into that. Then you have what was just completed on the defense union. What you have is the directives now, the white paper on defense. Overnight, it's going to be like a nuclear blast, finishing onto the Lisbon Treaty of 2009, PESCO, and putting on the final touches. And there were also other decisions that were working towards the EU having its army. But this is really going to throw it onto the map and complete it in a big bang style. So all of these things are promising to boost Europe's GDP and really catapult it. But if that's not enough, there's more. And what that is that the European Union is going to take on 10 more members, which is going to include Ukraine. And these members are going to boost the EU's citizenship numbers up to 670 million citizens. And then there's talk of the other nations, up to 42 nations, which could then join in different tiers. So the EU then would have a scope of about 770 million citizens. But wait, it's not even done with that yet. And then the European Union is going to have all of those nations use the euro, or all of the new member nations will be mandated to use the euro. Right now, it's not specifically mandated that each nation has to adopt the euro. So there's 19 members of the euro. There's going to be many more nations now that will be members of the euro. And there's many other initiatives that I'm not covering here, but this is basically the crux of it. But there's even more. The trade pacts, they will have more trade pacts. India is going to be a huge trade pact in addition to their 76 other pacts, and the Mercosur agreement, which would create free trade between South America and the European Union. So, Europe's also got its Green Deal. So it's putting out new products that is going to also spur this economy. But what's also going to spur this economy is the elimination of, or when they join as a federal, like a United States, it's going to eliminate a lot of legislation that's also reducing profits. So the GDP is going to also climb because of that. So what is this going to mean for the United States? Well, what it's going to mean is that the European Union is basically going to be rewriting the rules, and we're going to have to abide by their rules, such as we already have to do in the Digital Services Act, the Digital Markets Act, the AI Act, and the Battery Directive. But there will be more. More than likely, we're going to have to follow the green legislation or not trade with this enormous entity. And there's things that Donald Trump is doing to try to also bolster the United States. Donald Trump has been negotiating many different trade deals now, about 15 of them. He has also been calling out for Canada to become the 51st state and other initiatives. But while he will make the United States stronger, it's not going to compare to what's going to be across the Atlantic. So that's what's happening. And the United States needs to remain strong and needs to remain where we will have a trade and that will prosper the United States and prosper, of course, Europe as well. But they're not going to need us. And I did a broadcast about how they're not going to need any one country because their economy is essentially going to be hedged. And it is hedged. So that's Europe's big blast. It's what it's going to mean for the United States is that there's going to be a new sheriff in town, and that new sheriff is not going to be China. It's going to be the European Union. Well, I hope you found this informative. Definitely let me know your comments and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. This has been Erika Grey of the Twist News.